Well, good morning, everyone. It's 3 minutes after 10 o'clock on this 17th day of February. Hope everyone's doing all right. Wave meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Storm Talk. Yeah, it's Storm Talk today. And we'll have some snow talk elements, mainly Storm Talk. And Carrie, sell your notes. Several of you have been commenting, and I apologize. I've been out at times, and I will be out at times, probably down the road here as I'm kind of battling some things here. So my health is not the greatest here lately, but I promise the days I'm able to bounce back, I will be here and I'll be with you guys. And especially this week, we have a lot going on. So I appreciate your patience. And as always, let's get right to it, because this one is going to be one of those blogs where we are split on the multiple threat idea that will come into play for this week, and how that will progress into the end portion of the month and into March. All right, so I looked at all the data today and I was trying to figure out the easiest way to try to explain this without confusing you, because there are really two separate things that will be happening in a very short amount of time. Welcome to late winter, early spring in Ohio Valley, right? So let's get to it. And as always, you guys can comment on the social media side, whether it is on Facebook, X, Alexa had some issues here, it looks like, on my screen. So I apologize if you're not able to see on X. That's something on their end. Not sure what's going on there, but if you're having trouble there, we are available too on Facebook and on Twitch as well. All right, ready to go? All right, let's dive into the current setup outside. Okay, this is not too bad. We've had some foggy mornings as of late in the area, right? And this morning's fog, not as widespread as what we had the day before when it was really blanketing in the area, right? So at least it's lifted now. Now we just need it to lift and mix out and to allow us to get some sunshine. And I do think that will happen. It will just take a bit of time for that to evolve here today. The quicker it happens, the warmer we can get for this afternoon, even though the numbers are not too bad now. We're 46 at the moment, 52 as you head into Fort Knox. So the clouds are the only thing that's stopping us from surging into those 60s later on for the day today. We'll get there. It's just going to be a bit more patience required, as we are still dealing with a not quite a March angle sun yet. It's still a February sun angle, so it's not as powerful as March will be on trying to get rid of these foggy mornings that we develop at times. So it's a little slower of a process, but we'll get there. All right, so what's the game plan? Well, obviously it's quiet today, so today is one of the days that if you have any energy to run or anything in general, actually, you'll be in fine shape. No ice, no snow, no fog to worry about here. We're good for the rest of the day. If anything, we'll get more sun. Back to the west, this is where things get a little messier, because we have several different pieces that are going to be thrown at us as we head into the end of the week here and parts of the weekend, and really even beyond that as well, to be honest. The first one that we'll be moving on by will be scooting right across areas of Iowa and Chicago into Cleveland, and this will happen tomorrow. Now, this one's going to be mostly a wind maker for us. We will have some clouds early in the day that have to be broken up like the ones we have today. Same scenario. Once that happens, the wind will take over, and there is some thunderstorm potential, especially on this portion of the line as it moves through the upper portions of the Ohio Valley. It will try to produce a couple rumbles of thunder. Right now, I'm not too impressed with this, causing any problems down into our area, because we need to figure out when the sun will bust out of the clouds tomorrow. Two things will happen here. The faster that happens, the stronger the wind, or the more of a longer duration of wind that will be elevated will be at play. I'm talking about close to wind advisory level at times. Pretty gusty day tomorrow. And also the warmer we'll look at. Record level is 73. For now, because of the early morning clouds, we may not make it there just because of the slower start today, but we'll get close. But that will determine, too, if there's anything that can form on our northern and northeast sections of wave country, if there's any rumbles of thunder. I don't see anything as far as impressive on severe with that. There's no outlook for severe or anything like that. But just want to mention that that's one piece. The second one's going to roll in nearly the same location, maybe just a touch more south. It will track into Missouri, into Illinois. But this one's a little different. That once it does track out into Illinois, into Missouri, and then Illinois, it will do a bit of a backtrack. It'll deepen a bit near Chicago. That is going to create a warm front scenario that'll be sliced through just like this, creating, if we were to draw the triangle, looking more like that over the Ohio Valley. That will lead to the warm sector and any showers and storms that can develop, some of which could be strong. That's certainly the case. We will have some morning downpours that we have to contend with first. So it's very close together. Your warm front, rain and thunder early in the day, and then the break that we're supposed to get by midday before the second round fires into Thursday evening. That's a very short duration setup, and the more north you are, the shorter that duration is. So there's a very, not really a bust potential on this, but there is certainly going to be a very much a questionable setup. Sometimes we use the phrasing of conditional severe. This is one of those conditional types of setups because we just got to figure out how quickly the morning round of rain gets out of the way before we get into the second round. Hello, Wavy. Haven't seen you in a while. All right, so that's the game plan for the overall setup. And then after that moves on by, I'm doing a lot of drawing here to get you built up for the maps I'm going to show you. It's my game plan here. Once that moves out, your thunderstorm threat moves out of the area. That low pressure will actually backtrack just a bit into areas of the Great Lakes. So it'll start into areas of Missouri, it'll move into Illinois, and then it'll do like a loop-de-loop and kind of hang out into areas near Lake Superior. And that's important because there will be a second piece or ride along its coattails. And the question is, will that piece develop into another southern wave, but it's going to have colder air to work with? Or will it be a little more suppressed and push the boundary all the way down south into the Carolinas to where we stay mainly dry for the upcoming weekend? And that's where the GFS and the Euro kind of are split. At least the two main models are split on their ideas. So let me explain how this is going to go. We'll start with the stormy side first. And the Storm Prediction Center does have the outlook out for slight risk. Just about everybody watching. I think there's only a few of our counties in the southern part not included. This is mainly for Thursday evening. And it draws out the warm sector very well. If you look at it, you can almost see where the low would track up here into Illinois. So there's your main surface low. Here's your warm front would be. They would be in that position by late afternoon, evening. And then your cold front is going to be a little slanted here, but it is going to eventually just push right into Louisville and Cincinnati as we evolve into the overnight hours of Thursday night and very early on Friday. So that's why the area has been drawn the way it is. It fits perfectly in all those narratives as the ball field for the system. And we've seen this many times before for our area, of course. So you guys know that anytime you're in that warm sector, or I like to always say the American flag, if you were to box it in, that's a spot to watch for some active weather. All right, so let's get through. First off, let me show you that some of the counties I mentioned that were not included. This is going to change. Don't get too caught up on these outlooks. I'm sure this will get fine-tuned a bit more once we get a better handle on how active will the warm front be on Thursday morning. And is there enough gap for the second round Thursday evening to still remain powerful, or is it a bust and it's just too rainy and cloudy from the morning round and the second round has no chance? So these outlooks will keep getting adjusted as we evolve along. Let us guide you through all that. We'll advise you each day as we get closer where we stand on that, where if we're on track to have the 1-2 punch idea, or we just need to worry about the cold front portion only into the evening hours. We'll let you know how that stands. Right now, we got both on the table, and we kind of have to until we get more high-res data into it, but at least you know the game plan and the setup. Okay, so let me show you our in-house model. This is the graph model, and I'm going to show you a few outlooks here, but this will be the first one that may not be exactly right, but I think it helps explain the challenges the system has. So starting today, I mentioned we're in good shape today. Not a bad setup. We get into tomorrow morning. Here is where we got the clouds early in the day. And this is where that little system zooming on by, or zooping on by into the upper Ohio Valley as it surges toward Cleveland. That's where when the sun comes out, the wind's going to really ramp up, especially in the afternoon hours. We'll start to see the wind gusts go up first into Illinois around lunch tomorrow. And then as skies continue to punch through and clear out across the rest of wave country, we'll start to see the wind gusts ramp up for the rest of the area. And I'm talking about 35 to 40 miles per hour, but it'll be a warm wind. It will allow us to have a chance to make a run at 70. It just depends on how quickly these clouds move. If they do not get out of the way in time, we still may go sunny and we still may go windy. But if it's too late in the day, after 2 o'clock especially, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. So if you want a really warm day, you want to get these clouds out of here early. But I'm not too worried about anything on the thunderstorm side. You can tell that anything that be rain related really is Wednesday morning, and that's way east of us by the time we get into Wednesday afternoon. But that's Wednesday's little hiccup, if you will. All right, fair enough. Okay, so let's advance this into Thursday morning. This is where the warm front will be getting established. And here it is now. This is the same front that moved in from Thursday. It got draped across Kentucky because, again, the clouds, you saw them punch through right there on Wednesday, and we cleared out. Well, it's a boundary that's snaked along the Tennessee border, Kentucky border. It's laying there asleep Wednesday night into early Thursday. Early Thursday, when you wake up, that same boundary that is to our south is going to then lift rapidly back up to the north as a warm front. That will happen, I would say, near or just after sunrise. As it does so, it'll surge quickly up to the north, tries to even bring out the sun. As soon as it passes by, we go sunny, a little breezy out and warm. But now the stage is set. This is certainly one of those days where the sun is bad. We say that often, right? Stay cloudy all day. That'll tame things down in a hurry. Not much to worry about Thursday. But if we go sunny after the warm front does its surge in the morning hours, that's where issues start to develop. You can already see the punch of the low pressure here into Illinois. It's curling up toward just west of Chicago. And now you're starting to see these cells break out in around southeast Missouri into Illinois. These will likely be supercells too, by the way. The first initial round will be into the land of Lincoln. As we get into, say, this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, let's move it on. Here we go at 7 p.m. Now, at this point, it gets a little messy because now if I were to draw the warm sector, the shape of it would be very much like this, almost like a complete triangle in the Ohio Valley. You got some cells still on the warm front that may have some severe weather with them. Otherwise, the main show is whatever's going along here near the Wabash and down to Evansville and Paducah. These are going to be the cells that may start as individualized supercells that will eventually cluster together, and they'll become groups of clusters, not exactly supercells per se, but groups of thunderstorms, not quite forming a complete connected line that we're so used to seeing, but a very broken line. And this is when they'll be the strongest, honestly, will be at 7 p.m. Thursday. But that's not here yet. I mean, wave country is generally right here, just ahead of it. Don't get me wrong, but they're just to our west, knocking on the door. They're going to gain some speed and momentum, so they're moving in fast. So if you have plans on Thursday, don't think you have too much to worry about with the warm front storms for now. We'll monitor that. I think the main issue is going to be Thursday evening. So if you have plans Thursday evening, I would say the easier you can get home, or just stay at home Thursday night and kind of move your dinner plans to a different night. Maybe a lot easier and less stressful, and just see how these storms behave as they push in. But this is another nocturnal event. So that usually works in our favor, right, of having weaker storms because of the nocturnal idea. We don't have as much fuel to work with after 7 p.m. Compared to we will have in the months ahead. You see the line, well, you can barely even tell the individual cells now. This is the same line, but it's almost connecting to a full line of storms that really it's weakening dramatically as it's got that tail going right through Louisville. But this is at midnight. And again, this is just one model's idea. I don't have a lot of high res I can show you yet. We're not close enough to the event. But tomorrow when we're on, we should have some more data, and we'll start to see some of the differences at that point that we need to dive into. We're not there yet. Today is just a general overview of what to expect, not exactly the detailed timing we're going with, and we think this is going to be how it's going to play out. This is just a storyline, and then tomorrow we're going to nail it down hour by hour a little bit more on impact, okay? You get toward midnight, the line moves through, but again, it's just at that point, it's not much to work with other than maybe some gusty winds with that as it passes on by, and then we're done. Then we're done with it. Then we get colder, which sets the stage for what will be interesting for the weekend. And that's where the model begins to stop. CSU came out with their outlook. You guys love looking at that, right? Colorado State Learning Module. So here's what it asks for each parameter. Here's your tornado parameter in the top left. Top right is going to be your hail parameter, and this is your damage and wind parameter. They're all about the same spot, but notice the black dot that it puts. That's where its greatest potential of each one of those threats is indicated. And notice your tornado parameter is higher in Illinois. That makes sense. That's where their supercells first. So for this box in green, it makes sense that CSU is seeing that. If it all lines out the way I've seen on other models too. I mean, the graph is not the only one that looked like that. They're all fairly similar, to be honest. Your hail threat, yeah, hail threat would accompany supercells. Hail is not as common in a squall line. So it makes sense that your dot is going to be back in Illinois near the Wabash. Your damage and wind threats, what's interesting, it does a little bit more of a slide to the east and southeast over into southern Indiana. So it does show there could be a couple of bowling segments. That may end up being our bigger threat is straight line wind. So we may miss out on the tornado potential with this. I don't know if we'll completely miss out of it, but at least odds are that the initiating point of all this when they first light up on the radar in Illinois seems to be the ground zero part. This is not, again, a major outbreak scenario, but it is one that, the first one of the season really gets a lot of attention. And it's not quite severe weather season technically yet, but it's a good time because it's around the corner. So to start thinking that your weather radio, make sure you got new fresh batteries in it. Make sure you got everything else set up on the Wave Weather app. If you've turned off notifications on severe weather and focused on winter weather for a while, you may want to turn on the severe weather ones just in case. Because this will be a late evening, very early overnight event. I'd say roughly 7 p.m. to maybe 2 a.m., something like that is probably the window we're looking at Thursday night. Again, we'll be able to narrow that down more tomorrow. All right. Type 3, if that all made sense. Everyone good on that? On the setup as it stands now, where we fit into that narrative and all the issues that we're looking for. And answers that we still need, and hopefully we'll get tomorrow. Hi, Tiffany. Hope all is well. You ready for a good thunderstorm? Yeah. I don't mind a good thunderstorm as long as it means it doesn't mean chaos for everybody. Hey, Adam. Hope all is well, Adam. A little storm chaser. Jason Hamilton, you're getting ready, I'm sure. Thursday is an alert day. Yes, Thursday is an alert day because of well, we're going to watch the warm front and early in the day to make sure there's no hailers. Typically, it's a hailing issue. Not a huge concern all the time, but we'll watch that. But obviously, we just need to be on standby in case those cells out of Illinois move in faster than expected. We want you guys to be on guard and ready. That's the whole reason for that. Do you see an upgrading? Not at this time. There's a lot of things missing here. Is it Francisco? Sorry. I don't see a lot of parameters coming together that would enhance this more. You would need a lot more warmth, and we already expecting 70-ish degrees. We're expecting dew points around 60. So it's already pretty decent for February. The wind is there for sure. So it really just be a matter of a lot more sun than expected. We would need just a little bit bigger of a warm sector. And if we did, a little bit more of a gap between that morning rain Thursday and then the afternoon from Illinois moving in, if that was spaced out just a bit more, I would be a little more concerned, and yes, that could lead to an upgrade concern. But I think the way this is playing out, the way the outlooks are lined up, seem to make sense. There's not a lot of wiggle room this system has. It moves too fast. But good question. We'll be getting that a lot in the season, I'm sure. ZK, tomorrow I'll cover that. I'll play it back at the end when I'm done here, but mainly just about the wind kicking up tomorrow afternoon. I'm not too worried about anything severe tomorrow. Rain amounts, Carrie, I haven't gotten to the rain amount aspect yet. We got to figure out if they're individual cells or it's a line of storms that will matter on rainfall. So give us more time to get rainfall forecast in. I would say this is probably one of those setups you can do like a ½ inch, 3/4. But they'll be moving along pretty good. They're not going to stall over us. So that's at least good. All right, let's get to phase 2 of this system. Phase 2 is the wintry side. And as this rolls on by, here's the Euro idea, by the way. Here's your Wednesday little wave. You see it's got a little bit of cape with that again. Don't worry about that. So too worrisome there. It moves out. It drops the tail, and then the tail becomes the warm front up to here, and then here comes your cold front to here. I had to draw that fast, but anyway, that's how it's all played out. It's a very short triangled warm sector, if you will. It could even be a little bit of severe weather down here. I'm surprised they get a marginal risk in the southern portion of that, but we'll be because the low pressure where it is, the wind fields are going to be right over the jet streak itself, right over us. The jet stream, again, will have a tailpipe to it. So because of that, these thunderstorms can produce some damaging winds and isolated tornadoes because of the position of the jet over us, the way it's curled up there in our area. So that's why we stand out in our outlook and not down here. Okay, they lack the wind. They have the fuel, but not the wind. And severe weather, you really need to have it all for it to be a wild outbreak. And most of the time we're missing something, which is not anything to complain about. Okay, so this is the Euro idea. It holds on to that low, curls it up to Lake Superior, right? As it does so, it wants to take the cold boundary that is going to be eventually the cold front that comes through Thursday night. Doesn't want to linger it very much. It wants to kind of push it down to the south. And because of that, it wants to take a while before we have a chance to develop anything on the wintry side here. In fact, it's cold and dry as we head into the second half of the weekend there. Cold weekend. And it tries to build up the stage to be set for the next system, which will then try to, nearly a week later, by the way, nearly a week later, tries, as the cold air is retreating, develop a storm that'll ride along the edge of the warmer air and tries to throw in some type of snow event very close to us into areas of the Ohio Valley, into portions of the Ozarks. It's done that for a few runs now, by the way. It's hinted at that idea. All right, that's fair. But now let me show you the GFS idea. This is a little different on parameters. It's a little different grid. But here we are with Wednesday. I don't have the cape displayed on this, but the same idea. A little bit of cape there. Otherwise, the front will get draped across Kentucky Wednesday night. There it is. Boop. Becomes our warm front that will then go north. So watch it go north. At the same time, watch the low move into Illinois. So boom, there you go. I mean, it happens fast. So now you got your cells that are forming into Thursday evening in Illinois. You've got your warm front, showers and storms there across Fort Wayne, Indiana into Ohio, and even some lingering rain. It's kind of a very messy warm sector. This triangle is not a clear cut. I mean, our graph model did try to bring out some sunshine. It is a high-res model, so it's interesting to see if we get closer, if this ends up being sunny in our area. If that's the case, well, then, yeah, these could be a little more of a kick to them Thursday night, but we'll see. We need high-res, more of them to see this. It pushes on by, but here's the thing. Yes, it does curl the low up, as we talked about, into basically the Lake Superior area, but it doesn't necessarily take the boundary of the front and drag it all the way south for a cold blast of air to Atlanta. It doesn't do that. Instead, it develops a new low pressure right on the front almost immediately. Well, in that case, you're going to get snow as early as Saturday back into our area. Quite the change, right? I mean, both models, if you were taking my face value, show it's going to be cold this weekend. So confidence on being cold this weekend pretty high. Question is, will it be sunny and chilly, or will we have another wintry event with some light snow falling in the area? Interesting for the GFS to show that. It's done that back and forth. It's not the only one. There are a few other global models that hinted at this as well. And then it just gets into the colder pattern a little bit longer into the following week. It does try to do what the Euro does eventually. It wants to try to build in something in a still setup near us, but it's a lot longer in doing so. And you see it's not configured right. So there's different camps. Especially for the weekend. And if they're already on different ideas for the weekend, we're that close to the weekend, confidence is quite low on the weekend snow idea. So hang tight for us on that. I will say, when you look at the lovely matrix from the Euro for the weekend setup, the Euro, the one that had us mainly dry because it pushed the cold front way south, is spitting out some numbers where it does see maybe something could develop. And the one that it actually showed on the model that showed that stripe from the Ozarks and Ohio Valley has hardly anything listed there. So it's interesting that the ensembles match the GFS more than the actual model itself. Could that be a sign that the GFS is on to something. We'll see. All right, let me get you into the 10-day and then get to some of your questions, and then I, of course, have to run. So you got the alert day out for Thursday evening there. Once we get into the warm sector, you guys are pretty used to that, how that goes, right? Friday will be our quiet day, if you will. And the weekend, we're just going to go with rain to snow, or rain or snow. It's about the best way I can word it right now until we get a better handle if the cold is going to be overwhelming, or will we have a wave develop on the front. And obviously, if a wave develops in the front, that's going to change the weekend forecast quite a bit. And then we do try to warm up briefly into next week there. Okay. Would you say, David, I'm pulling for you, GFS? I think a lot of people probably will be. I mean, it's not often we can get that, right? We can get the threat of severe weather and snow in a couple of days, and we do that a lot, to be honest. Now I say that happens a lot more in March, but we're not strangers to it, but it is wild when it happens. Certainly a sign that seasons are changing when you get into that battle. The 45-day, we're not going to cover the 45-day one until Friday. We'll leave that one alone. Let's get past this setup first. Try to read your comment here. Hold on. Yeah, thanks, Sean. The biggest issue is going to be straight line wind by the time it forms here. But if you are in Orange County, Du Bois County, Martin County, Indiana, some people watch there. If you're on the northwest side of our viewing area, you need to be aware it could still be in supercell form as they're approaching you Thursday evening and eventually becoming a line. So certainly areas north and west in Louisville need to be just a little bit more on guard for any isolated tornado potential that could develop Thursday evening. And that should become a line, and then we're done. And this will take about 5.5 to 6 hours to get from one side of wave country to the other. All right, and then we'll be done. All right, guys, I got to run. I got to get something to drink, and then I've got to get ready to get on TV and explain this for our lovely TV friends, right? I hope you guys are enjoying the Olympics and all the coverage out there. We'll be here monitoring the setup this week. Hopefully, it will have, the alert days we have the issue here, especially for the weekend, but we'll just stop for Thursday night for now. I'm sure it's about to be the beginning of a busy season for us, as it usually is around here. All right, I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all take care of each other, and I will see you guys coming up on the flip side. All right, take care, everybody.